everyone, it's Lisa. Just wanted to do a super quick video to show you how I do my menu planning for the week. Hope you find some inspiration in this video. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching. A viewer requested this, so I'm going to try to pull this together as best I can. And I say that partially because there is sort of a rhyme or reason to what I do, but there's sort of not. So I'll just walk you through really quickly the steps that I take in order to menu plan. The first place I start is with the sale papers. I typically shop at one store. I go to a second store on occasion because it carries some things that I can't get at the first store. And then there's a third store that is kind of near my kids' school that has some things on occasion. I will be upfront and say that despite the fact that I look for good prices and I do clip coupons, I am not a hardcore couponer. I don't traipse all over town looking for deals or going to get specific deals. Kudos to those of you who do that. It's not my thing. So what I do, or what I'm looking for when I go through the sale papers, is I start with the two non-primary stores that I shop in, and I look to see if there's any really banging good deals. That's really what it's all about. I would obviously, if it's one of the stores where I can find things that I can't find at the other store, I'm going to wrap those two things together. But in general, I don't go to the other two stores unless there's a really good deal or I need something very specific at one or both of those stores that I can't find at my other store. So for this week, for example, I've got my 3 sale papers here. Randall's is the store I primarily shop in, and that's the one I'll go through at the end to determine what kinds of things are on sale there. But the other two, H-E-B and Kroger, I just flip through to see if there's any special deals. And the reason I want to point it out this week is because Kroger has these family packs of bone-in ribeye. It's $4.99 a pound, and you can only buy up to 2. It's mix and match with a shrimp deal as well, and you have to buy at least $10 in other groceries. But this is a really good deal. So something like this, I'm going to make a note of. I'm going to specifically go to Kroger to get this bone-in ribeye, and I'm probably going to put it on my meal plan for the week, or at least make note that I have it in my chest freezer. So that's kind of where I start, is there anything really amazing going on? Then I jump over into my usual store ad and I go through it and determine what kinds of things are on sale and is it something I might be able to work into my menu plan. And then I just basically make really horrible scribbly notes about it. In fact, this is my scribbly notes. I just kind of jot down at Kroger, for example, these are the things that are on sale that I might be interested in, and at Randall's, these are the things. And that's the first thing I start with. Once I have that, then I jump into my eat sheet, and I'll show you that. Okay, step 2 in my meal planning is to print out my eat sheet. I get this from Mommy Tracked. I'll put the link down in the description bar so you can see. There's a bunch of downloadable forms and papers on the website, so this was just one of them, and it's the one that I use. There's tons out there. If you go to Pinterest or just Google meal planning form, you'll get a ton of different stuff, and people have different ideas. Some people keep them in a book. I just prefer to do it on a piece of paper. So I use my eat sheet, and one of the very first things I do is I write in the dates for each of the day of the week, whatever day I start. I typically start it around Thursdays. That's when I usually start doing my meal planning, and I make note of typically like the current day. So I'm filming this, for example, on May 4th. You can see I've already written in here May 5th. I go ahead and make notes, some of which are probably kind of cryptic to you guys, but make sense to me. So the K means that these are the nights that the kids are with us. They spend part of their day or week with their dad and part of their week with me. So I make notes about when they're going to be with us because it's just a little bit easier for me to menu plan. I can try to plan to make something that we all enjoy, that type of thing. So I work on that. Then the next thing I do is I plug in very specifically the events that are happening on a specific day. Now, let me back up for just a moment. You'll notice that on Saturday and Sunday, I've made note of both lunch and dinner. My husband comes home for lunch on Saturday after work, and obviously he's home on Sunday because he's off. So those are meals we eat here in the house. On the rest of the days, I don't have a lunch dinner denotation because I only make dinner unless it's a holiday. So it's kind of implied to me that what I'm writing in for that specific day is dinner. So then I, like I said, begin to fill in certain events that are happening that may impact what we're going to do. So for example, Friday, May 6th, retrospective. This is my daughter's annual art show at the high school. I actually will be up there all day from about 2:30 till 10 o'clock at night. So somehow we have to fit dinner into this. We usually dash out, for example, and grab a bite to eat when the judges come through and we're not allowed to be on site. Saturday, May 7th, we have a pool party in the evening. The May 8th, we have Mother's Day. The kids will be with us, so we're going to go out to eat somewhere low-key. May 9th is Monday. We're playing, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not showing my, May 9th is Monday. We're playing a game called Farkle out. Wednesday, we're going to a friend's house to play a game, that type of thing. So you can see here I have it all plugged in, and then it gives me an idea of what do I really need to plan for the week. And in this case, I have a lunch and a couple of dinners. Thursdays, my husband usually goes out to dinner with his boss, so I usually leave those days open. And what I do when I'm building my meal planning is I usually plan for at least one extra meal in order to fill in, let's say plans fall through. I have what I need to make a meal. If for whatever reason he doesn't go to dinner, for example, my husband doesn't go to dinner with his boss, I'm able to pull something together really quickly. And usually the meal involves a lot more of the things that I can keep fresh, either because they're frozen or canned or that type of thing, rather than buying a bunch of fresh vegetables and saying this is my pull it out of my back pocket meal. The next thing I do is I actually save all of my old eat sheets. And part of it is I just like to go back and look and see what I've already prepared. But this is last week's eat sheet, or I guess the one week we're in at the moment. And what I will do, this is kind of a poor example because I haven't really marked it off, but I will typically check mark or scratch through the things we have eaten. So tonight I can tell you that the Swedish meatballs are on the menu. Last night we made the slow cooker chicken and biscuit stew. We've already had the shrimp couscous. So I go through and I look and see, is there anything on here that I have not yet made? And the only one on here is the skillet shepherd's pie. So a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll take the things that I haven't yet made and I'll evaluate whether or not I still have the ingredients, do I still want it on the menu plan, and I will actually transfer it, as you see here, skillet shepherd's pie, over to the new menu plan. I can't do it with everything. Sometimes I rob Peter to pay Paul, as they sometimes say, and I use the ingredients I've planned on, and I've made some sort of other concoction or worked through it. But usually I just transfer it over, and again, sometimes I get an inspiration like, oh, I think I'm going to make Salisbury steak, and I'll flip back a couple of weeks and realize, oh no, we just had Salisbury steak a couple of weeks ago, so I'll scratch that back off. From this point on, it's just more sort of inspiration. I've plugged in everything that I plan to or that I didn't use from the previous week or haven't made from the previous weeks here, for example. Then I'll start to fill in. So a moment ago I mentioned that Kroger had steaks on sale. So I've made a note here, steaks on the grill. That's probably one of the things we're going to do. The rest of these recipes, these two here, are just pieces I've tripped up on in all of the zillions of recipes that I look at on a daily basis. I have about 4 cookbooks that I'm rotating through right now. 2 of Marlene Koch's Eat What You Love Every Day. 1 is the new Hungry Girl, Clean and Hungry, and the other is the new Skinny Taste cookbook. I actually plan to do a review on all those books, but that's beside the point here. I also sometimes dig through Pioneer Woman cookbooks. I have tons of things flagged and dog-eared. I get a weekly meal planning in my email box, and just magazines. I have recipes all over the place. So I just make note of things, and then I flip back through, and if something strikes me, then I add it to the meal plan. So in this case, my weekly meal plan that came in my email box from emails this morning, and I'll put that link down below as well for emails, the sweet beef and pepper skillet, and then the other recipe that's jumping out at the moment is from Skinny Taste, the skinny chicken fajitas. One of the couple of things that I do when I make my meal plan is I make note of the points. It's off the smart points. It's over here off on the left in this case. This is 8 for this serving, 6 for this one. I also make note of where it is. I've gotten in trouble in the past where I scribble, oh, I'm going to make this, and then a week later I'm looking at my meal plan thinking, where did that recipe come from? And I'm sifting through Evernote and emails and magazines, I can't find the darn thing. So I always make a note. For example, this means my portion control emails. This is Skinny Taste, and then this is Eat What You Love Every Day. So that's a little bit about how I begin to plug in what I'm going to eat. I also carry down here at the bottom a couple of things. Right now it's a little skimpy. I have what I would call my Hail Mary pass meals. These are things that I have in the freezer that I could potentially pull together really, really quickly. I also sometimes make notes about side dishes if I want to do a very specific side for something and that type of thing. I have some crappie in the freezer. One of my husband's co-workers he goes fishing every once in a while. He brings us crappie and it's seal mealed and all that kind of stuff, nice and fresh in the freezer. It's easy for me to both defrost it because they're small fillets, they're thin, and they're super easy for me to cook up. Again, small fillets thin. It's just like a nice mild white fish. And then I have some meatloaf that I have already made and prepackaged in the freezer. I have a chest freezer out in the garage. So I have some, like I said, I call them my Hail Mary meals, so that if push comes to shove and there is absolutely nothing to eat, I can defrost some meatloaf or whatever else I may have made note down here. I can whip up some frozen veggies, some frozen mashed potatoes, all of that kind of stuff, and voila, dinner on the fly, and we're ready to go. I also have tons of soup in the refrigerator, or I'm sorry, in the freezer as well. I freeze batches of soup, chicken, pre-made chicken, that type of thing. So these are just some ideas there. What I then go back and do is I fill in, based on the recipe, the things that I know I need to buy at the store. So in working through the sweet beef and pepper skillet, I have only made note of the things that I need to buy. I know, for example, that this recipe says things like Worcestershire sauce and garlic. Those are things I keep in my pantry or in my refrigerator all the time. I never have to stock up on them. I do make some notes sometimes if I'm not certain if I have something, or if I'm not certain I have enough. So molasses in this recipe, for example, I have a question mark next to it, and that will clue me into checking the pantry before I make my grocery list, so I don't double buy molasses. But most everything else, I keep track of what I need and what I have on hand, and otherwise I just check it. So from here I begin to build my grocery list. I'll pull in all the things that I need from here for my groceries, along with the scribbly list that I've just made across the week of the various things that we need, like spray Pam and granola bars and things like that. So that is a really, really quick tutorial, I suppose, on how I do my meal planning. I will link several things down below. I will link Amazon links to all of the cookbooks I have mentioned here. I will put in a link to the Mommy Tracked downloads page so you can see the eat sheet. I will link to emails, the meal planning menu service that can be sent to your inbox. They have one called Portion Control that already has the smart points calculated for you. I will link also up here in the top right of the video, a previous video I did on meal planning that includes emails and Evernote that I use, so you can see a little bit about how I keep track of recipes. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know. And if you like what you see, be sure to subscribe to my channel so you can find more videos when I post them.